NFT artists are selling out in seconds on Instagram. Who would have thought that this would be the story we'd be talking about at the end of this show? So early last year, Meta started testing NFT sharing and allowing some users to connect their wallets on Instagram. From there, they allowed some creators to start minting and selling those NFTs right from within the platform. This news analysis that was published on CoinDesk this morning asks questions like, would seasoned NFT collectors be interested in purchasing assets on a Web2 platform as we move forward, and highlights the high associated fees with in-app purchases at between 15 and 30%. Adam, I'm going to kick it right back to you. What do you think of Instagram really kind of getting into the NFT game at this really feels like a thoughtful pace? They didn't really just like ape in. They're working with some prominent creators. They're rolling it out quite slowly. What do you make of this?
I mean, I think that it takes time to do these types of things. When you're a big company of lots of institutional momentum, lots of priorities that you've already got going on, and it just takes time for these projects to come. So I don't think that they're like, hey, the market is terrible, let's start launching these projects. I think this is something that's been in the works for like 18 months, and we're just kind of starting to see it come to fruition. It's not surprising to me that stuff is selling out like this. Again, like the thing that NFTs really kind of introduced was, hey, here's an investment, really. Again, like the term investment is problematic, but it's accurate for kind of how most people treat these things, that actually appeals to me as an individual because I would collect art, and this is just a digital form of art. So I think, again, the value of art is always in the context that surrounds it. It's always about the person who made the thing, the situation in which it was made, what it means. And I think that you're seeing that. So again, like in markets like this, it's not just, hey, let's ape into anything that can go on. It's like, what's a measured good thing? And then again, to the extent that they're seeing stuff sell out, that creates more fear of missing out, which then drives these sorts of cycles. So it won't surprise me at all if we see this cycle accelerate. But, I'm quite curious to see where it goes and how far the implications are outside of the world of, like Instagram and stuff like that. Zach?
Yeah, there are a few signs of life in the NFT market more broadly. The Block was highlighting some data today saying that in December, NFT sales rose 13%. That's after 8 months of consecutive declines. They were attributing some of that to tax loss harvesting at the end of the year, but also some prominent projects seeing a bit of fresh life with new drops and whatnot. So perhaps more broadly speaking, the NFT scene is seeing a bit of a bounce back relative to the rest of the market, just seeing complete carnage. And I think Adam is right? Like the art in context, or like the fandom in context, or like people just being enticed by digital collectibles for things that they already care about, regardless of the technology underlying these collectibles, right? And it's something I think we've seen with Reddit having some of its NFT or digital collectible success. And obviously Polygon, I think, is sort of on the frontier of sort of getting some of these more consumer-friendly NFT things moving. So perhaps some signs of life could just be people trying to optimize their taxes at the end of the year. But again, perhaps some signs of life in the bigger NFT market here as we head into the new year. Interesting to see. Wouldn't necessarily have predicted it, but interesting to see that both in Web 2 and perhaps more broadly in Web 3, the NFT thing is still breathing. Will, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'll give a quick take before we head off the show. My thinking with this is like if NFTs were adopted by Web2 providers, we have different Ethereum use cases like NFTs, ICOs, DeFi. Maybe NFTs are the ones that sort of survive the best going into the next few years because there's that Web2 presence that DeFi and ICOs really didn't have because of a lot of regulatory issues, right? Where DeFi has done best, it's mostly because it's been implemented into very strong crypto communities, or it's had some sort of institutional adoption on top of it. ICOs basically didn't pan out because of securities laws. So for NFTs, I think the fact there's like a legal pathway to use case there really means that it could succeed over the next few years in a way that I didn't think was possible when we first started the show. So there's something. Zach, I'll throw it up to you before we end.
I'll end it. That was a nice note to end on. Will, reflecting on his long streak of not so great NFT
Still
predictions.
Don't love NFTs, for the record.
That's true. No, he's still holding strong. I like that.
You
We
will.
like that about you. Still holding strong. That's good stuff.